Welcome to episode 3 of Whatcha Watchin with the Bash Bros. I'm your host, the sexy sheep, Dave Turner, and I'm sitting next to
Charles.
Fucking Charles.
Big facts, Charles Xavier, Chris Ross.
Oh, for the podcast today, right?
Yes.
Because I have a bone to pick with you on the Wolverine thing.
Yeah, because he fucking sucks.
Well, he doesn't. But we did agree to talk about X-Men this week, and I think it's probably an important and a long topic. In fact, I think it's such an important topic, and ironically, coincidentally, we have a good friend who is also watching the X-Men franchise while we were talking about the X-Men franchise last week. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring on our guest, the one and only from Spokane, the first ever Without a Cause champion, Chase James.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Come on down.
I was trying to come down, but I got multiple unmute buttons that popped up, so I couldn't unmute.
Oh, yeah.
It happens to the best of us.
I don't know if my fingers were touching it right or not. My fingers are never touching anything right.
You were hitting the spot just right, and it was coming through so fast that I couldn't actually control my mouse. So.
Oh, actually, that's a different topic for another day. All right, so Chase has been watching the X-Men franchise as well. And I'm sincerely hoping that I have somebody on my fucking side here about Wolverine and his importance to this entire franchise.
Let's be honest. Hold up. Wolverine is important to the franchise. I just don't like Wolverine at all. I like Hugh Jackman, fine. I like Wolverine in the movies, like whatever. I just don't like the comic book character Wolverine. I don't like him. People love him. I'm just not one of them.
How can you not like the comic book character, but like the movie version of him?
I don't like the movie version of him.
You just said you didn't have a problem.
No, I mean, he's important to the series. Like, he's a character in X-Men. Like, if he didn't appear in the X-Men movies, I'd be like, that's fucking dumb. But he's not my favorite character. And he surely shouldn't be as over as he is. But here we are.
So what's your hatred stem from here towards Wolverine?
This guy comes out of nowhere and fucking steals the spotlight of the X-Men from Cyclops and, just everybody. Honestly, he just comes in and is like, hey, bitch, I'm Wolverine. And they try to get it back with Cable. And even then, people are like, nah, man, Wolverine's the shit. I'm like, why the fuck? What is wrong with you people?
Do you think that's Cyclops' fault for being kind of just a little beta cuck bitch?
He's not a beta cuck bitch. He's such a fucking anti-beta cuck that he took over for Magneto because he's like, you know what? Wolverine's a fucking piece of shit. He's not going to stand up for our race.
Well, he took over for Magneto because he finally grew a set and was like, I got to stand up for myself here because I'm going to lose my wife.
Well, he lost his wife a long time ago, to be fair.
Bitchin' ass motherfucker with sweet sideburns and claws that come out of his hands.
And then she died, and then he upgraded to fucking... oh God, why can't I remember her name right now? Oh man, I'm having a real brain fart.
Well,
I have to.
That's fine. While you have that brain fart, I also have another bone to pick with you.
Yeah, bone.
Because you said to me last week, Blade was the first Marvel movie.
It was the first Marvel movie.
No, I want you to know that you're actually wrong.
Okay, what was the first Marvel movie?
Howard the Duck.
Way before
Did you
Blade.
see Chase?
That was fucking a LucasArts film. You fuck.
It was a Marvel title.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't under the Marvel production banner.
It exists. If you go to the Wikipedia and look up Marvel movies, it is listed as a Marvel movie.
Not only that, was Blade even under the Marvel production banner?
Oh, fair enough. Good
yes,
point,
it was. Yes, it was.
I don't remember seeing any Marvel credits at all in Blade.
Oh my fucking God. Let me just YouTube Blade, and I'll send you guys the fucking link.
Blade, like Rollerblade?
Oh my God.
Like that kick-ass Disney movie?
No, that's Brink. You are going to catch some fucking hands, boys. I can't believe this fucking blasphemy in this group. Also, by the way, hashtag I was wrong on Blade. They did not do the Marvel intro.
Yeah, we already knew you were wrong. You didn't even have to fact check it.
I just had to fact check it. But it was, I mean, Howard the Duck okay. By technicality's sake, I guess you were right. Howard the Duck is a Marvel owned.
Maybe I should be Big Facts.
Maybe you should.
Okay, so where do we want to start the rest of this X-Men conversation?
Okay, well, first of all, while Chase is here, I have some questions about episode 1,
Ooh,
Fast and
fair
Furious.
enough. Yes, good
Okay.
call.
Chase James.
Yeah.
Dominic Toretto only raced for pink slips.
That's right.
So how much is a tuner car that's doing street racing even worth? Because if he's winning a race a weekend or whatever, does he really need to be stealing from these giant trucks?
And let's be clear, Chris originally said these cars are worth $60K.
I'm guessing.
No. You'd be around like the 20 to 40K range.
Really?
Ooh, even 40
Yeah.
seems really high.
For
20
some of
seems
them.
reasonable.
It's a street racing vehicle. It can't be like $5,000. I mean,
Well,
it's
yeah,
got to
but-
be 15 to. I figured, they're putting all the shit in there, computers, DVD players. There's like a lot of shit going in these cars.
So the thing is there's two parts to this. Is first off, we have to think about how much they were worth back when that movie came out. The cars that you see in there now obviously are not 20 to 40K cars, but back then they probably were. Secondly, you don't ever get your money back out of modifications and vehicles when you go to sell them. People have these wild ideas that they're like, yo, I put 40 grand in my car, so now my $40,000 car is worth $80,000. And that's not the case. You just have a $40,000 car that comes with $40,000 worth of shit. You might get like a little bit of money, but you're never going to get your money back out of modifications.
Yeah, but he's not paying for him. I mean, he's theoretically winning them in street races, so it's just like an extra 40K in his pocket every week.
Well, no, there's taxes. I mean, he's not a madman.
I
Do you
guess there
think
is tax.
Dominic
I forget-
Toretto is paying taxes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Probably. When you're
Well-
getting that many cars, you have to. Otherwise, you can't register them in your name.
Well,
Maybe he's chopping them up, chop shop style.
He would make
does
more
have
money
the
that
shop.
way. Oh,
I
and
mean,
let me,
that's
as someone
probably
who
what he's
owns
doing.
a shop, like my expenses to keep that shop open every month is about at least 10 to 15 grand a month. So he's got expenses.
I bet he's
And in-
laundering that money through the
And in
shop.
California, like prices of everything's super fucking expensive there.
Yes. All right. So that Fast and Furious question, I can chalk up to saying I don't think Dominic Toretto needs to be robbing trucks. I don't think it
Well-
needs to be done.
So here's the thing. You can go pawn a TV pretty quick and easy. Not everyone's buying a car every week. You can have a lot of cars, but if people aren't buying them, you got a lot of nothing. As for you go knock off a semi-truck full of TVs, you can go hit up pawn shops. You're getting that money right now.
And to be fair, we don't know if he's actually racing every single weekend.
No, he's got other stuff going on, I'm sure. And Race Wars was
Sure.
coming up, so he was in a pinch. So it makes sense.
That's fair.
I like how we just legitimize the whole thing by Chase saying, and Race Wars was coming up, so he was in a pinch.
Yeah. He knew that Hector was going to be there with some spoon engines, and things were getting intense.
So,
Hold on, I got another question on the Fast and the Furious front here real quick.
all right.
Because Chase did race cars, how, like you watch Fast and the Furious, do you look at it and go, this movie's all bullshit? Or do you think, it's pretty spot on to what racing is actually like?
It's pretty spot on. The first one was, they definitely, don't do that later on in the series. Like, we're not stopping international crimes and shit like that. But the first one was pretty accurate. You can actually go down to Kent in your guys' area, and the Kent Street racing is pretty similar to what you see in the Fast and the Furious. Like, they'll block off roads. People are running for money and running for titles. And
That's
street
still a
racing's-
thing, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like that would be something that died in like the mid 2000s.
No, it's still. I mean, it's every weekend here. Even in Spokane, you can go line up with people. They're not racing for titles, but you'll see people put anywhere from like 100 to 1,000 down on a race.
Just like driving down the street.
No, people meet up in parking lots. They meet up in abandoned warehouses and shit like that.
For real. And then they just race on like a strip that's more or less.
It's public street, and they have people block off the sidewalks, and then they have someone drop it, and then that's how you go.
Fucking fascinating. We should go to a street race one time, Chris.
So,
Wouldn't mind.
so let me
I
tell you,
don't-
it sounds much cooler than it actually is. Because once you get there, you realize there's like 5 or 10 people who are real people. And then there's like 300 18-year-old kids who are all trying to just be tire biters, or are just there to get drunk and try to start fights or cause wrecks. So it's not really worth it.
Maybe we won't. I don't know. Fast and Furious it's a very intriguing franchise, which maybe one day we can redo it with Chase just so he can have his
we were
words. 'cause-
recording. Yeah, we recorded the first episode, and all of a sudden, I think it dawned on both of us at the same time. We've never talked to Chase about this, and Chase has a background in racing.
That
yeah, I
is
mean,
one
you
of
own
my
a tuner
specialties.
shop.
Yeah, that too. Speaking of tuners, did you guys see my X-Men timeline that looks like a tuning fork?
That was pretty neat.
I was really proud of that.
Oh, baby. All right, here we go. Let's start off. Okay, before we get into the franchise, the movie franchise, TV shows.
Okay.
So, Dave,
Yeah.
did you watch that little 22-minute pilot cartoon episode from 1989?
No, because I fucking suck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you fucking suck.
I
cannot
forgot.
believe. So that little pilot TV episode I thought was really fucking good. Although it made me believe that Wolverine was Australian because he's Australian in that movie. I don't know how they fucked that up, but there
Did you
go.
ever see there was a 1996 TV pilot that they turned into a movie on Fox called Generation X? It was really very bad. Like it's a typical 1980 or 1996 made for TV movie, but it was centered around Jubilee and like and Emma Frost.
Emma Frost. That's who I was thinking of earlier. Scott Summers ends up banging Emma Frost for a long time. So props to him. Emma Frost,
Yeah, she's
top tier snipe.
Yeah, that was a good movie though. I wish that was out on like DVD or something because I'd love to own it. I think about that movie often. But you're watching the cartoons right now too, right?
Yes, I decided to delve into that. So, I mean, I grew up with the X-Men animated series, the very popular one that everybody's going back and watch. Oh man, I went back to watch it, and god damn, it is ugly. It is grotesque. It is weird. They look fucking strange. They're very thick, just wide humans.
Well, that was the style back then. Like
I know.
be a
I know.
jacked up human being.
Fucking the Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, huge beefcake sons of bitches. The 90s, man. Whew. All the pockets.
I feel like that cartoon was really very good. I tried to watch it a few years ago on Netflix, and it just didn't have the same appeal. It's a hard cartoon to watch because it bounces back and forth between different topics and like closes gaps on storylines like maybe 3 or 4 episodes later, but they haven't talked about it since the first episode they talked about it on.
Yeah, I found the same thing. The art style was just not my speed. Didn't like it very much. I mean, as a kid, like it's no different than I guess Spider-Man or the Iron Man series that came out during that same time, or even probably the Fantastic Four.
So bad.
I liked it when I was a kid, so I haven't seen it. Obviously, that's for a different time. I'm just rewatching the X-Men series. I got through like 7 episodes, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It just wasn't. It is hard to watch. I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is. I think the art. I'm so used to just better art styles that it's just visually I just can't stand it.
Well, I think it's a thing too where it's the art is crisper now and storytelling's better. Like even the original first 3 X-Men movies, like in concept, great movies, but the storytelling back then just wasn't what it is now. Like you can
I disagree with that one.
I disagree with that too.
Really?
Actually, yes.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been since you rewatched the first 3, but I just watched them, and that was one of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed about them. Is they all stuck to their story, and the plot was the same throughout the entire movie. There wasn't jumping. There wasn't, not everything happened for a reason that you saw, and that I enjoyed.
Well, when I say yes, I agree. Like they all are in the same like bubble. It's a trilogy.
Yeah,
But it's not written like the Avengers or the MCU movies are written now.
Well, yeah, they had nothing to tie into. I mean, they were just 3 standalone movies. And if you stayed for the end of the credits in 3, Charles Xavier is alive.
Yes.
And it's like, there could have been a 4th one.
there could have been. I know. I kind of feel like X-Men was a little bit ahead of their time in a sense, because like when I watched it, when I watched all 3 of them, the things that I really took away is how much we see like today's issues in those movies. You had people that were wanting to forcefully get all these mutants to get vaccinated and get rid of their superpowers, and then you had
like
the mutants who just
COVID.
wanted, and you had the mutants who just wanted to be accepted for who they were. You had mutants that were, you're either pro mutant or anti mutant, and like they just touched on a lot of subjects that weren't really big subjects back then. I mean, they were, but they weren't brought into the light like they are nowadays.
So it's funny that you say that because I was actually telling Chris I'm a much bigger fan of the DC comic line because Marvel's fun. It's a fun read, but it's very political and socially relevant, which sometimes makes it a little difficult to stay tuned into. DC, you could just jump in, you read the comic book, you enjoy it while through the 24 pages or whatever, and then you're done. You don't have to like think about it afterwards and go, oh man, like that really fucking mirrors kind of real life.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the X-Men originally were all about, honestly, racism.
Yeah.
I mean, the original 1960s X-Men is all about, more or less racism and like being able to accept those who are different than you. That's all it's ever been about. And, as years gone by, they've even changed, their own stories and how they view themselves. It's really interesting.
There is one thing that needs to be addressed, though, about the very first X-Men movie. Is we see Wolverine, who's, a few hundred years old, end up falling in love with a girl who's portrayed to be like 16 years old.
I don't think he falls in love with her. He falls in love with Phoenix.
Yeah.
He sees her as like a daughter.
It was very creepy in a few of the scenes.
I think he looks at Jubilee, or not Jubilee, Rogue. I think he looks at Rogue like a daughter.
Well, hold on. There's a scene.
Point.
There's a scene where he's asleep and he wakes up and stabs her because she's on top of him.
But I think that's Rogue.
That is Rogue. He's asleep. I mean, you can't. But to Chase's point, there's a scene in X2, I believe, where they're intense. It might be X3 actually, where they're intense, and Mystique goes into good old Wolverine's tent, and she's pretending to be Jean Grey, and then they're making out a little bit, and then he's like, "Get off me! You're not Jean." And she's like, "Who do you want?" And it goes to Storm, and then it goes to Rogue, and I was like, "Weird."
Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
Mystique's just a little mind fucker because she did the same thing to Magneto.
Yeah, she even did to that prison guard. She turned into a little girl that was hanging by the chains and was crying, going, "Help me, help me!"
God, what a little mind fucker.
Yeah,
I mean that's all her power is, though, to transform into other people and fuck people's minds.
Yeah, I will say though, when she did it to Magneto, it popped the fuck out of me that she turned into Rebecca Romaine Stamos and had that little cameo in there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy too. When I was watching those, they even brought up, how Magneto was captured as a kid into the Holocaust, and like how he didn't want to take the marking of the Brotherhood because he had the marking of a barcode. And I was like, wow, like this movie touched on some shit.
Yeah, it really did.
It thoroughly does.
It's I think the whole Marvel franchise is very political. I mean, they go into civil war in the registration of superhumans and things like that. It's all very rooted in what's happening in society today.
Yeah, and they do that in all their movies. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the Wolverine's origin story, where it's basically him and Sabretooth going through all the wars and stuff. Did you guys see that one?
Yes, of course. Wait, what? You've never seen X-Men Origins of Wolverine?
Oh, yes. No, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So they show how, they were way back in ancient times, and they go through like pretty much every war, and then you see Sabretooth eventually get crazy, and like he pretty much starts to almost rape someone in one of the movies, and Wolverine stops it, and that's where we really see
Vietnam
Sabretooth.
War. Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, because like that was also an issue that we had back in that war. So
yeah, that's true. Crazy. That's definitely it was a big deal at the time. But also, funny fact about X-Men, I believe. Well, before we get too far into the Wolverine character, who I hate miserably, because
I don't understand why, because he's a good human being. He stopped her.
I don't know. I feel like we're starting to shine some light on some things that aren't.
Yeah,
so
he's
great
not a good. Like, listen, Wolverine is. This is my whole thing about Wolverine. Since we're wrestlers, I can equate this to something else. Fucking Cyclops is Bret Hart, and fucking Wolverine is Stone Cold Steve Austin in fucking 1996, 1997, 1998.
Yeah.
Okay, Cyclops is the fucking good guy. He's the flag bearer. He's the hero. He's the man. He's the leader. And
he was a little stale.
Sure. I mean, after fucking what? It was got to be damn near 15, 20 years of being the main guy. It's going to get stale.
I mean, even Cyclops, though, said in the movie and in the comics a couple times how Wolverine needed to be prepared to be a leader. Like, in a sense, he was training him to replace him at a few times.
You know the only time I liked Cyclops? is in Days of Future Past when he says, "Where do they keep the cars around here? Let's go to the mall." That was the only time you saw some nuts on that fucking character. He was ready to steal a car to go to the mall to impress Gene and get Nightcrawler to feel comfortable.
Days of Future Past? He wasn't in Days of Future
No,
Past.
sorry.
yeah,
You're right.
That's
I've got my
Apocalypse.
timeline all mixed up because Phoenix movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so notoriously
Apocalypse.
X-Men are looked down upon in general for whatever reason. But just to clear everything up, we're going to do Rotten Tomatoes real quick on the entire X-Men series.
Okay, I'd love to hear this.
Okay, X-Men 1, 2000, 81%.
That's pretty good.
Pretty fucking good.
I would say so.
X2, X-Men United, 85%.
I don't even want to hear 3. 3 is going to break my heart because I actually like 3 a lot.
I like 3 a lot.
I like 3 a lot too. I watched it today and I was like, damn, this is good. Kelsey Grammer is the beast. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, Juggernaut's in it, and he was my favorite.
Okay.
And like
so,
Mystique gets vaccinated, and Magneto just goes, "Fuck you, you're out."
Yeah.
just
Like,
being Magneto as Magneto can. So
Yeah.
new director though. So first 2, Bryan Singer. Third one, Brett Ratner, 57%.
I feel like that wasn't fair though, because like at the time, I feel like X-Men was being shoved down our throats, so people probably rebelled and were like, "Oh, I'm tired of this. Fuck this show."
Well, and I was
same thing as-
reading too that there was a rush production schedule for X3. So
I think a lot of it comes down to just Jean Grey kills Cyclops in the first 10 minutes for what appeared to be no
For
fucking reason.
No reason, yeah. It was really
It just
weird.
didn't make any like, hey guy, I want to go do a movie called 27 Dresses with Katherine Heigl, and I'm done being Cyclops, and I want to be a rom-com guy and a guy who acts with invisible animals. That's what my career should be, and X-Men is not it for me. So I'm piecing the fuck out.
The only thing I could see that they made that and like how you could tie that into the story is that she started out by killing the person she loved the most.
Yeah, like
Besides
a storytelling
Wolverine.
device, right? Like, oh, we'll make her
Or-
the heel turn. Everybody, she's a bad guy.
or that he was so spineless, he couldn't even defend himself against the woman that he loved the most and kill her.
Well, and he was pretty like suicidal and depressed seeming too in the beginning of that. So like,
Yeah.
You say that, and you know Wolverine had a chance to stab her in the fucking head and didn't do shit. Took him a whole movie to kill her, so don't fucking give me that Cyclops is a pussy and Wolverine's a real man shit.
well, no, I'm not
Uh-uh.
saying that. I'm just saying he was in an emotional state, found the woman he loved, and then she turned into the Black Widow and ate him. Like that's
Yeah, that's it, right? Okay. Next movie in the franchise, according to date, is X-Men Origins Wolverine. 37%. This
That's
movie is a shitbox fucking toilet, garbage
yeah.
trash bin.
So the worst thing about that too is that movie had so many of my favorite characters in it that it should
I
have been
know.
a great movie.
Yup.
Like we had Gambit, we had Deadpool, we had Sabretooth and Wolverine, and we had just
The Blob.
Stryker,
The fucking Blob.
Yeah, there were so many in there, and it was just like they really dropped the ball.
Well,
Although I will give them the one good thing about that movie because I rewatched it. The one thing that I did like was the twist at the end of how he lost his memory.
I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, I
I
enjoyed
also
that.
enjoyed that they explain how he got, and it's stupid and dumb, right? But they explain how he got that leather jacket that he was
Yeah.
wearing throughout the rest of the X-Men movies.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
And the motorcycle.
Yeah, the motorcycle. Okay, so
But that's literally it. There's only two good takes from that. Like
I know.
having fucking Deadpool shoot laser eyes and gets his head cut off. And
do not bring up Deadpool was so bad they made fun of it in fucking Deadpool.
Like, thankfully, they kept Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. They're like, yo, we gave you a really crap character. We're that you keep that character, but have fun with it. So,
I agree with that. And that's why I say Deadpool has its own timeline in the X-Men franchise. Because Deadpool is just a character who breaks the fourth wall in general. I enjoy all the X-Men movies. And I've talked to a lot of people who are like, you know, these movies are shit. Like, this one sucks, this one sucks, this is the only good one. How could you like that one? It's like, if you stop and just like process it as they're supposed to be, just a fucking fun movie trying to tell a fun superhero story, they're actually all pretty good movies.
Well,
besides Origins, like
besides Origins, right?
Yeah,
so it
Wolverine's
had
pretty bad.
it had two good ones, two shitters, according to the Rotten Tomatoes meter.
What's the other shitter?
Well, X-Men
third.
and the last stand was
they're
not a
wrong
good.
on the third. The third.
I
was
agree.
I feel like
agree.
they're wrong, yeah.
But according to the just on the Rotten Tomatoes meter, this is why I don't like Rotten Tomatoes. They just get it wrong. If you go on comedies and you look up like Step Brothers, it has like a 27%. You're like, are you fucking high? Movie's hilarious.
Yeah. No, and like the thing is, like I said, I remember back in the day, I didn't like the third one at all either. But now that I've rewatched them, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
It's a fun movie.
All right, in 2011, X-Men First Class, the reboot, as I would like to say, 86% of Rotten Tomatoes, fucking killer movie.
It's a great movie.
And then Wolverine came out, The Wolverine, in 2013 with a 71%, kind of middle of the road, which I agree. That movie's
I feel
kinda,
like that probably could have been a little higher. I really enjoyed The Wolverine.
when he goes to Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think it was the first movie where they were like, let's get a little edgy with this franchise.
It was the first time we saw Wolverine really be human.
Yeah, true. It's
Yeah.
really a very focused piece on just Wolverine.
I also really like the Silver Samurai in the animated cartoon as well.
Yeah, Silver Samurai, underused character. Like Dave knows this, but when I read comics, I try to find obscure teams or obscure characters and just kind of like follow them a little bit. Silver Samurai, super obscure. He's been in a few video games.
Gambit was never utilized enough.
Well, he was only utilized literally one time for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and he should have been. I would have loved to have seen him in Apocalypse, and he's honestly is one of my fucking favorites. Chase just
One of
showed
my
us
favorite
his Gambit Funko Pop.
I have like 3 Gambit Funko Pops, but yeah, he's one of my favorite too.
And originally in Origins, I wasn't high on the representation of the character until I watched it back, and I thought, you know what, they actually did an okay job.
Yeah, I've been
I'll be
reading some of the
honest.
Gambit comic books recently too.
Yeah.
And I feel like the movie did a good job of portraying the character that you see in the comics because, like, in the comics, he's kind of just a mercenary. Like, he doesn't really care much about doing what's right or wrong.
Right.
He cares about doing what he has to do. So it made sense that he didn't really care about helping Wolverine too much, other than his motivation was, you're going to kill the guys that are after me? Cool. I guess that works.
Yep.
I think my other problem with this whole franchise too is Rogue. Rogue is too fucking young, and I'm also like I was super attracted to Rogue in the cartoon. And is it Anna Paquin? Is that her name?
Yes.
Like I just feel like she didn't portray.
Well, I felt like they got her powers wrong in the movie too. Like it felt like every time she was in a scene, she'd touch somebody, she'd take their powers for like 10 seconds, and then it'd be back to normal. That's not the fucking case. Like it's made her seem like she's just there. Her powers are meaningless because they don't use them right. She's not really a part of the team. She can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's the same reason I thought Iceman sucked. Like I love Iceman. Bobby Drake, top 5 X-Men. I love him.
That's weird, but okay.
That's weird.
You guys don't like Iceman?
No,
Okay, well,
my
fuck you
brother
guys.
loved Iceman, and
I definitely
That's
didn't like
probably why I
Iceman
don't
in
like
the
him.
movies.
No, the
I like
movies he was shit on. Like he didn't use his powers the way like I know his powers to work until 3 and Days of Future Past. It just felt like, what the fuck are you like? You have these characters and you just refuse to use them. All right, well, fuck me, I guess. Didn't make
well,
no fucking sense.
I think that's where it was like we're students, so we're learning how to use our powers type of deal.
Yeah, and I know, and they made up for it in the next movie on the list, X-Men: Days of Future Past. Came out in 2014, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Good, because that was a great fucking movie.
I just watched it today as a rewatch, and baby, oh baby, it was good.
It was very good.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about Futures Past, and this is just such a small thing, is that I felt like it was way too much CGI for the time, but that was kind of when everything was starting to go super CGI-ish.
2014,
Yeah.
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 Let's
I
talk
remember-
about
I
CGI
remember-
for a second too.
The what?
CGI for a second, because I think in the first 3 X-Men movies, they did a really good job with Wolverine's claws.
Yeah.
It was difficult to tell that it was computer animated. And then all of a sudden, in X-Men Origins, when his claws come out and they're the adamantium the first time, and he looks at them, it's the fakest fucking thing in the world. It looks awful.
Yeah. And that was my thing that I hate about Futures Past, is because I felt like the environment that they had to create with all these, big old fucking cyborgs coming at them just was too much. It looked like shit, and I was like, all right, I feel like I'm watching a cartoon right now. But then when they would go to the actual story where he was back in time, it was great. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Days of Future Past, the Sentinels, they look so fucking weird.
yeah, I hated
but
it.
I actually, so I did it first too because I love the Sentinels and I like the classic look of the Sentinels.
Yeah, me too. Just like a real blockhead,
Yeah,
very robotic. Yeah.
right. But the explanation of why they looked the way they looked, like when I really sat down and was paying attention to the story of the movie and knowing that it was all Mystique's DNA that made them shapeshift and transform and be able to absorb these powers.
That doesn't make any fucking sense, by the way.
It's a perfect concept to have an indestructible fucking robot to kill your.
So you're telling me human DNA is going to be turned into some sort of magical robot DNA?
It wasn't human DNA. It was Mystique's.
So mutant DNA and
Yeah.
turn it into a robot DNA.
Well,
they needed her body to figure out how to make metal transform into different things. That makes no fucking sense.
okay. I think
That makes no fucking sense.
you're probably hanging on to the wrong things here because don't forget, we're talking about fucking mutants in general.
I'm just saying, so this guy's such a good scientist that he can't be like, well, I see this mutant can transform her body into anybody, so I need to steal her body so I can figure out how it works so I can make metal and circuitry do the same thing. Pretty terrible as fucking job as a scientist.
I mean, that's kind of what they did with Deadpool in the first X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
But that movie's a fucking abortion. This is
Yeah.
90%. I'm saying,
So
it
that's
just
the
doesn't
thing.
make much sense. I just feel like that's a weird storyline.
I think that's kind of the thing, though, is that like the storyline was good, the outcome wasn't. Like how like pretty much what I was getting at is that like the Sentinels and the whole end of the world in the beginning, that part kind of sucked. But the story of Wolverine going back, finding everyone, getting everyone to fight, and every time he makes a change, it still doesn't fix the way it was supposed to. Type shit going on.
Also, the very end of that movie, very odd. Magneto and Mystique just leave. The president's there, the CIA's there. Like, if they make me stay, I'm gonna be dead. And he's like, I know. And then he just lets him leave, and I'm just like, wow, shit. Just let the fucking guys go, I guess.
Yeah.
Or like Charles Xavier looking at Wolverine, yelling at him for not getting at class, and then all of a sudden he's just like, "Oh yeah, today's the day that you actually wake up, huh?" I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, so Wolverine's just been like a normal dude, and then one day wakes up and forgets everything because that's now current day.
Yeah, I know, right? Very odd. Like he wouldn't remember his whole life up until that point in the new timeline. He just whatever.
He wouldn't. But then that brings up the question of what happened to the Wolverine that's been existing until he came back.
True, and the fact, and the fun part is, Cyclops comes back to life. So where does this actually fall in line with the movies?
So that's the problem, is it deletes everything.
Right.
So weird.
So it resets the entire timeline. The way I look at it in that graph that I made is the events that happened in 1973 split the timeline. They splinter the timeline into two mirrored timelines running congruently with each other. And 1973 is basically a what-if scenario. What if Mystique killed Bolivar Trask? Well, then you end up in 2023 where the Sentinels are fucking hunting the mutants and they are all pretty much going to die.
We only got 2 years for that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. What happens if she doesn't? Well, then it splits off into this other timeline where life kind of goes, and you can reset it to be the X-Men team that we knew to be the first X-Men team.
I just wish they did something more with it. Like I think that's why I love X-Men Days of Future Past so much, is because they gave us a little bit of the original 3 storylines. I mean, they had Ellen Page is Kitty Pryde. They had the Colossus in there, Bobby Drake, same actors.
Yeah.
They brought Robrack, they brought, Cyclops and Jean Grey and everybody. Like, it's just like a big, they even have Kelsey Grammer as Beast at the end of it.
Yeah.
I fucking marked out so hard for that because I didn't remember that.
I also really like Bishop being in that movie as well.
Yeah. I mean, it just was a fun, it just was like everything I've ever wanted an X-Men movie to be, I guess. Even though, again, I feel like some of it just real weird choices they made.
Sure.
Also, Peter Dinklage as Trask was really cool.
Oh, I think Peter Dinklage is great.
Yeah, just
like,
different move.
Yeah, he's an untouchable guy, and I think makes any role that he's in believable. Like even him in Elf, you look at him and you just go, I can 100% believe that you are a book mogul and fucking just this genius author and a super giant prick.
We should also bring up how Wolverine dies like a little bitch in Future Past.
He doesn't. I
He
mean,
didn't die.
he doesn't die.
He went to the bottom of the lake.
Yeah, and they
Holy
pull him
shit.
out, and he's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's
like
heavy. It's heavy.
Magneto just like puts some metal in him and then flings him, and then like in my head I was like, yo, he should have probably did that in like one of the other 4 movies because this would have saved him a lot of issues.
Yeah. I mean, that's so originally in my timeline, I had put X-Men Origins on the same version of timeline with Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix and things like that, because I thought this is where you can kind of put it in there as the starting point for Wolverine becoming Weapon X. But they, at the end of that movie, the little Easter egg, Stryker goes and pulls him up, and then at the end of fucking Apocalypse, they let Wolverine out, and he just fucking goes apeshit. So for the, let's see, Days of Future Past was 1972, Apocalypse was 1983. So for 11 years, Stryker had Wolverine locked up in the Weapon X program. So
Makes sense.
Origins now moves up to the top of the timeline with the original trilogy that I think if Disney wanted to continue with any of this, they could now write off the original trilogy as just being a thing that happened and close the book on it with Logan dying.
They 100% will never talk about the original. The only thing that's going to be saved from all this is the next movie on Rotten Tomatoes, Deadpool 2016, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That actually might not be saved. They just released an article from the director saying that Deadpool 3 may not happen now.
Those sons of bitch. They better not. Like,
Yeah.
I like the rated R superhero genre. Why not?
Well, and that was the thing when Deadpool came out. I remember so many people are like, "Oh, we don't know what we're gonna do an R-rated superhero movie." Blah blah blah.
I went to see. Speaking on that, I think I went to see Deadpool 2 by myself, and I sat down in the theaters, and behind me was a dad and his 7-year-old son, and I look back and I go, boy, you don't know what the fuck you're getting into. And then immediately he's like getting blown up and fuck this and fuck that and bloodshed. And the dad and the son just get up and leave. And I go,
yeah.
Yep.
Second one starts out with Celine Dion and he blows himself up on a bunch of gasoline tanks, doesn't it?
Yep.
I had originally, like when all this Disney Fox merger talk was happening, they realized what a gold mine they had on their hands with R-rated movies because Logan did really well. And then Deadpool had also done really well. They're like, okay, well, maybe we'll keep an R-rated arm of this industry open.
I mean, they did the Netflix as TVMA, right? The Daredevil, the Luke Cage, the Iron Fist, the Defenders, Jessica Jones. That was all TVMA.
Yeah, but that wasn't under Disney yet.
No, yeah, that was still
no. But I'm just saying, I feel like there's room for this.
I guess that would have been Disney still, I guess.
I don't think it was Disney quite yet.
It wasn't.
I don't think that Disney's going to care about doing the R-rated stuff because, like, we've seen them get pretty risky with a lot of movies that they've made. Like, they're pretty dedicated to what they're going to do.
So I feel like it's pretty. I can understand why they would step away from jumping into anything with the X-Men franchise right now. Like, I read that same article, Chase, and the analogy of breaking glass in case of emergency really made sense for me. Like, you've got this multi-million-dollar franchise with the Avengers. Like, milk that until it's dry and you're not making any more money off of it, and then immediately roll out X-Men and just continue making money.
Well, beyond that too, X-Men is a large pool of characters.
Yeah, that's where I was just about to go. It's like, do we really need to add all them to the MCU that's already full of hundreds of characters?
I almost feel like they could take a break after this next, I'm assuming Galactus, whatever the next MCU mega villain is, past Thanos, whether that's Galactus or whoever. After this next round of movies is over
Galactus, they got to put Fantastic Four in those movies.
I have a feeling Fantastic Four will be coming out soon.
Yeah, they've been really pumping up a lot of Fantastic Four toys. and
Although,
stuff
actually,
like
I
that.
think the next villain could be Doctor Doom. I heard that. I read an article that before we get any of these characters from Fantastic Four and X-Men, we'll probably see one of their villains up here in the MCU. So that could be interesting.
That would be interesting. I had a thought today where I thought if you're gonna bring the X-Men onto a live action screen, I would be okay if they made a show like they're doing with The Mandalorian and they just kind of remake the 92 animated series but live action.
You guys want to hear a fun little off-topic story that's still on topic in a sense?
Always.
Yes.
About the time that I almost died. It involves Doctor Doom, so this is a pretty on-topic story.
Okay.
I
Dr.
was
Doom
about
makes no
12 years
sense.
old, and we were at Marvel, or not, it was Universal Studios, and they had the Tower of Doom, which is a Doctor Doom ride, where it's one of those rides that you sit in, and it shoots you straight up in the air and then drops you back down. Well, 12-year-old me hated any sort of like rides like that whatsoever. So me, my dad, and my brother are strapped into this ride, and we're sitting there, and they're so fucking suspenseful, where they're like doing this countdown. You know, Dr. Doom saying all this scary shit. 12-year-old me looks at my dad and my brother and goes, I can't do this, I'm out. And so I'm trying to like undo my buckle and get out of the seat. My dad and my brother are like, no, don't fucking don't do it. And I'm like, no, I got time to get out. I got time to get out. And like I'm like unbuckling myself at 12 years old as the ride slingshots up. And like, had it not slingshotted when it did, if I would have had like another 5 seconds, I probably would have got out of the seat and just fucking skyrocketed.
12-year-old Chase just shoots off into the fucking sky and hits the pavement while Dr. Doom's whoa.
Well, and so the sad thing was it was literally just like a seatbelt. Like this was before like people really started thinking about how to strap people in rides, I think, because it was just a seatbelt and one of those harness things.
That's
like,
what they have at Disneyland, Disney World for the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Just a
Yeah.
seatbelt.
Yeah. We should go to
Like,
Disneyland, all three of us, just by ourselves.
You know, I'm always down.
No family. I know that Chris is looking at me like my wife.
Yeah,
is
explain
not
that
gonna
to his
go-
wife and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, explain that to my fucking wife and kids. You psycho.
We'll just say we're going for another wrestling match. There won't be
Okay,
wrestling
sure. I mean,
match.
that could probably work.
We go down for a wrestling show.
And
The show
nobody
gets
takes
canceled.
any fucking
No,
photos.
I thought this
Nobody
out.
talks about it.
We say the show got canceled. We were already there. We didn't know what to do, so the promoter offered to buy us tickets to Disneyland instead because he felt bad.
Why are you looking at us like that?
I was gonna say, okay, sorry. Let's
Back
Let's
on
get back
track.
a little
back on track. Back on.
tomatoes.
So Deadpool. One of the best things about Deadpool is Colossus is in it, and I love Colossus.
No, the best thing about Deadpool is hearing the speech about doing the right thing at the end, and he just fucking blows the dude's brains out.
That's fair.
Colossus gives the whole speech about how a hero's made up of one defining moment and doing the right thing, and he looks at him and goes, "Yeah," and just shoots the dude.
I think it'd be hard to narrow it down to just one great thing about Deadpool, because I think Deadpool's the movie where it's like it was made for fans like us who
Yes.
are like, listen, we're kind of just tired of seeing hokey bullshit that doesn't follow along with what we know to be true to the comic series.
That is actually one of my number one least favorite parts about the X-Men series. Is I don't feel like it's ever followed what was given to it to follow.
Okay. The hard part about that is if you're gonna follow off of an Xbox or a X-Men comic line, which one do you fucking choose? Because there's like 40 of them.
I just
That's
figure you could just start. You can either do, in my opinion, original X-Men, Angel, Beast, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman.
I'm glad that you brought Angel up too, because I feel like we were robbed of him. We only briefly saw him in the third one for like a
And
short
we
cameo.
briefly saw him in X-Men Apocalypse, but his appearance
That
in
was
Apocalypse
Archangel.
doesn't mean fucking shit.
Yeah.
Because the
But-
whole point of Archangel is that he was Angel, and then he became the servant of Apocalypse, Archangel. It's a fucking cool-ass storyline in the comics. Hey, let's just jerk off on him, because who the fuck cares? We're X-Men.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, they gave him a cool moment where he came down and was told Apocalypse to fuck off.
sure, but I'm just saying, like, you either start with the original, or you start with Uncanny and do
You-
Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Banshee. You know,
There's just so many, man.
I think
But I
that's
feel like the original one we got felt kind of. I feel kind of like we got, I don't know, robbed.
I see what you're saying, because First Class was a great movie and it was cool to see it rebooted from the very beginning. But my problem with it, I didn't have a problem with any other fucking character being a part of the X-Men except for Raven. Like somehow, I feel the way about Raven that you feel about X-Men. Somehow, this goddamn character wormed her way into the lexicon of the fans' minds as being uber popular to where now she's a fucking hero in a rebooted trilogy.
I almost feel like
Right.
Jennifer
No, I mean,
Lawrence is a great actress. Mystique's like a fine character. It just feels like in any of the comic book series, in any of the TV shows, Mystique was never a good guy for long.
no, never.
B, it was always Jean Grey, and then when Jean Grey died, they switched it off to I believe Emma Frost, who became a good guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, why Mystique? Why?
To go back on why they needed to create their own, as we were talking about this, I pulled up my Marvel Unlimited to read of how many different series there are of the X-Men. I counted to 200 before I stopped counting.
I know. There's several different versions. There's several different. I mean, here's just a tidbit of X teams that Chris Ross likes. You have the X-Men. You have the X Factor. You have the X Static. You have the new X-Men. You have the New Mutants. You have X Force. You got the Young X-Men. You got, there's so many iterations of it with so many different characters. It could have gone anywhere. I understand that, but like, I feel like if you're gonna do a straight up series take, it would have been just original X-Men or the Uncanny X-Men, and then evolve from there.
Yeah,
Do you
I don't
think
agree.
fans will accept a complete reboot of the X-Men franchise owned by Disney?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think
here's the thing about fans, and it's the same thing with wrestling fans. They're going to shit on whatever's put in front of them, but then eventually around, they're going to go, man, that was great. I really enjoyed that.
Well, beyond that, there's something I will, to continue our Rotten Tomatoes examples. After Deadpool, the series kind of took a dive in the main series. X-Men Apocalypse got a 47%, and Dark Phoenix got a 23%. I think those are a little harsh.
So do I.
Dark Phoenix was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Dark Phoenix was actually pretty good too. All things considered, that this fucking distribution company was basically looking at selling to somebody at that point, just anybody. Like Fox was on its last fucking legs when Dark Phoenix was made.
Yeah, clearly they were already in the process. Like, I think they had actually sold to Disney as Dark Phoenix was being released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
although Apocalypse did suck. I didn't like Apocalypse.
Yeah, it did suck. I agree to that. Like, it could have been better.
That much.
It could have been better. It felt really slow and plotty. Like, the main things I got out of it were, we get Nightcrawler, who I love. You get, Cyclops in and stuff. Like, worse things have happened. But
see, I loved it because I loved the animated series. And as much as I didn't like Jubilee as a character in the animated series, I was so happy to see her brought into the...
Jubilee's like the main fucking focal point of the animated series.
I know. But I couldn't stand her character in the animated series. But to see her brought into the movie universe in a way where... Because it kind of like hinted at her in the first X-Men. Maybe the second X-Men. When Wolverine was saving them all. I think she was down in that pit or something.
Oh, in Origins?
Yeah.
Fuck.
No, not in Origins. They were all trapped.
Oh, yeah. In X2, I know what you're talking about.
But to see her come in with the yellow coat, and like the very overly 80s poppy look, like I really enjoyed that. And then seeing Storm come in like that, and Psylocke, who's just a fucking smoke show because Olivia Munn's just super hot. But like that whole seeing all those characters in costumes that mimicked what they wore in the animated series, like that made me happy. I enjoyed the whole fucking movie because of that, I think. Like, could Apocalypse have been a giant? Yeah. But the fact that he wasn't didn't take away from it for me. Like, he probably should have been Thanos big.
Yeah, I agree to that, I guess. I don't know. The only thing...
the whole movie sucked.
Yeah, I don't know. I was not a fan of it as much as I was a fan of...
especially since they made him look like the freaking villain from the original Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, he did.
True.
That's true.
The Ooze, Ivan Ooze. Yeah.
I also like that movie too because it kind of, like, I feel like had Fox maintained ownership of the X-Men, we were seeing the passing of the torch from the First Class group to the Cyclops and the Jean Grey version of the team. Where if this series was going to continue, now you were going to see Cyclops and Nightcrawler and Jean before she died.
Boy, they love killing Jean, don't they?
I think it's one of those
That's a Marvel thing.
storylines. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a storyline that people are really attached to for whatever reason and always end up wanting to see, which I don't understand why. Like,
I couldn't tell you. So after Apocalypse, 1 year later, Logan comes out. It is the highest rated of all the X-Men at 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie is so fucking good. Like, it could be called anything and still be a fucking incredible movie.
What movie is this?
Logan.
Oh yeah,
oh, Logan was fantastic.
yeah, that was a good one.
It was
I
really
would. The only thing I didn't like is, and I haven't watched Logan yet, so I'm not 100% refreshed on this one. But I remember not being super stoked about the ending, but overall the entire movie I really enjoyed.
well, he officially passed away.
Yeah,
And I think they did it in a very endearing, tributary way to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
yeah,
By giving him that 6 solo movie, like, it had Oscar nominations.
Yeah, it had a very Terminator feel to me too. Like, it felt like I was watching a much better version of Terminator 2. X-23 was that little girl did a phenomenal job in that
Yeah,
movie.
being a little baby Wolverine.
Yeah, just a hardcore killer.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to say about it. I mean, if you haven't seen Logan, you should, because it is fucking incredible. It could be, like I said, it's in X-Men, quote unquote, but man, it could have been anything, and it would have been awesome.
You know what I love too
I
about
see
the
Wolverine versus Wolverine in that one too.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. I love too in the rebooted trilogy, they really take advantage of the you can drop the F-bomb rule one time in a PG-13 movie. Like, in every single movie, they say fuck one time.
Yep.
And
In fact, you say that, and Dark Phoenix has my favorite F-bomb.
yeah, where Scott
Psych.
Summers says,
Yeah, Scott
"You
Summers
touch her, I'm
goes,
gonna
if you
kill
fucking,
you."
yeah, if you touch her, I'm going to fucking kill you. And I was like, hot damn, that was a good F word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've heard the worst F-bomb used ever. It was in a movie called Be Cool with John Travolta and Uma Thurman, I believe, and The Rock was in it.
Uh-huh.
And he's a mobster, and he's talking about how he wants to get into movies and music, and he's saying, oh yeah, did you know in PG-13 movies they can say fuck one time? And it's a PG-13 movie. And I was like, well, there that goes. I guess that's you're explaining to me that you can use the F word once in a movie, and you've just used it. So great
But look
use
what
of
you
it.
took away from that now. Now you
Yeah,
know.
you remembered it.
Yeah.
They made it mean something.
Sure,
Was it-
but it just was a terrible. I just don't think it was worth the fucking moment.
I
Maybe
think
it was an
It was used for
educational tool.
comedy. It was used for comedy, is what it was.
Then I don't understand your problem with it.
but it made
Are
it
you-
memorable. Like,
Are you trying to
guess.
tell us that funny doesn't always equal money there, Jim Cornette?
It just wasn't a funny fucking. It wasn't a funny thing to say. I just felt like it was made. It was used for the sake of comedy, and I didn't think it worked.
Are we all satisfied with this X-Men conversation?
No, we got Deadpool 2 at 84, baby. Cable.
I did like the fact that they brought in Cable.
Yeah, they have to. It was great.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2, dude, I like how they did it X-Force, and they made fun of it by having like Shatterstar die instantly, and
Who
like
was
Matt
this?
Damon.
yeah, Matt Damon was briefly in there.
Yeah, for
And
like
we
the
also had
invisible
just
guy.
like the little kid that was just such a fucking asshole. That Deadpool's like trying to help him. He's like, God, I fucking hate this kid.
Yes, like Deadpool 2. Deadpool is such an interesting series because it's rated R. It's very violent. It has a lot of swears in it. It's very funny. It still weirdly captures the X-Men spirit.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like way too good.
Which one? Didn't he lose his legs in X-Men 2 or something at one point?
Yes.
You know, the baby legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go put some pants on his little baby dick out.
Yeah. Or he like, what was it, 1 or 2 where he talks about losing his hand? He's like, oh, I'm gonna look so big in this later because he has the baby hand.
Yeah, God,
Uh,
so good. But yeah, Deadpool is like I don't know why they made that PG-13 Deadpool with Fred Savage.
I think that's just a money grab.
Yeah, I got 53%. The same
think it's-
movie in
Yeah.
a different rating got a whole nother rating.
Right. I think it's just a funny thing that they could sell to let kids be able to watch Deadpool now, but also they hook our generation of guys who are like, oh, fuck, I love The Princess Bride. I'm going to watch this just because Fred Savage was great when I was growing up.
True. Yeah, last
And I
but
think
not
that-
least, New Mutants is not coming out, or it is coming out.
August.
Yeah, August
Yeah, that
28th, I
wraps it
guess.
up.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm very interested to see that movie. Like majorly. I want to see that movie, I think, more than I wanted to see any other fucking X-Men franchise movie ever.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Wait,
It's
New Mutants. It says it was released April 3rd.
No, it's in
Well-
theaters August 28th, 2020.
yeah, they were gonna release it April, and then COVID hit, so they pushed it back to August.
And then I actually at some point thought they can't shit can the whole thing because Disney's like, fuck it.
Well, I had heard that they were going to release it
Or maybe
for
reshoots.
digital watch on Amazon Prime, but I never saw a link to buy it. But I mean, it's a fucking new horror movie.
Whatever happened with Gambit? They just dropped that one.
Yeah, Channing Tatum was supposed to be Gambit, which
Oh, he would have been so good.
I know he would have.
I-
I think they.
I don't know if he
dropped
could have done a Southern accent though.
Are you kidding me?
Channing Tatum, I've never heard him do a Southern
Oh,
accent.
he'd be fucking great.
I'm not saying he wouldn't be great. I just
think
don't know if he
can
could
do
pull it
whatever
off.
the fuck he wants.
Listen, he's in my favorite movie of all time, so let's just be chill here, guys.
Yeah, no, I
Dropped it.
yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, yeah, okay. All right, Chris. Okay.
Okay, Chris. Okay. Okay, Chris. Chris, okay. Okay, Chris. Chris, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to fucking see that movie.
Yeah, me too. I hope it
Oh,
comes out sooner rather than
And
later.
reading up now from another report, it says the Deadpool 3, they have zero plans for a Deadpool 3 release date.
Man, that's gonna suck.
They're going to pull away all of our good ones.
You know, and that's gonna suck for Ryan Reynolds because he's very attached to that fucking character.
Well, they're pretty much already done filming it. Like, someone died a year or two in Canada while they were filming Deadpool 3. So, like,
Yeah,
why
stunt
they
woman,
wouldn't
I
re-
guess.
yeah, why they wouldn't release it, I don't know. Because, like, they've had to have had a majority of it already filmed, if not all of it already filmed.
If you
Oh,
guys,
man.
if you guys could have a superpower, what would it be?
It wouldn't be shooting fucking needles out of my dick like that piece of shit Wolverine thunder stealing bitch.
Okay, first of all,
Fucking hate Wolverine.
it's never been confirmed whether or not he shoots fucking adamantium out of his dick. Although I wonder what his loads are like. Are they heavy, you think?
No, he still bleeds. His fluids are going to be the same.
Oh,
True.
fair. Good point. What would your superpower be? Let's end this podcast with what your superpower would be.
Chris goes first.
My superpower would be to have metal skin.
Okay.
That was dumb.
Yeah.
Ah.
Like Colossus.
No,
Ooh.
obviously, the best superpower is super speed.
Okay.
After seeing the Flash, after seeing Quicksilver in these X-Men movies, after seeing Sonic the Hedgehog, super speed is the dopest.
Okay. I mean, it's not an awful one. It's better than metal
It's definitely,
skin.
yeah, it's definitely better than metal skin. For me, I would say the ability to regenerate health, like what Wolverine and Deadpool does. Like
I
where you
think-
lose a limb, it grows back, or you get shot, it just pushes the bullet out and you come back.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good one. I honestly think that I would probably. I'm just gonna say it. I want all of Superman's fucking powers.
Oh my god, okay.
Can
You
can
ended
you
this on the worst way ever, and I hate you now.
can you wait? Hold on.
I want 17 powers. Hey, what superpower do you guys want? Super speed. All right, well, I
Dave is
want
that-
all of them.
Yeah, Dave is that guy that, like, when you play this game as a child, you're like trying to be genuine. You're like, oh, I'll just take one. I'll take this power. I'll take speed. I'll take, health regeneration. He's like, yeah, I want the power that gives me the power to take everyone's powers and then learn them and keep getting powers.
So
Yeah.
that's my
You know,
question.
so everybody gets one wish, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I wish for Coca-Cola for the rest of my life.
So
I
do
wish
you-
for
Yeah.
Snickers bars. I wish for a million wishes. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
That's what's gonna happen. One day the three of us will be on the road. We'll find a genie. He's like, all right, you guys only get 3 wishes. You each get 1. Chris is like, yo, I want to be super fast. I'm like, yo, I really want the new X-Men series to come out on DVD. And then Dave's like, I wish for 99 more wishes.
Like a fucking jerk.
So let's settle this debate right here, right now, then, because this actually is a good question. Are all of Superman's powers combined into one category where you can just go, I want Superman's powers, or do you have to individualize them into flight, super strength, speed?
you have to individualize.
You have
What
to
the fuck, man?
This isn't even, how is that a debate? You have to individualize them.
God,
because he's
damn.
got all of them.
Wait,
Oh,
is this
you
what
could-
superhero do you want to be?
You're basically saying, like,
Then I would
Hey.
be Dr. Manhattan, bro. I would
Yeah.
destroy everything and have a giant blue penis.
Yeah, you didn't
There,
say what
same here.
superhero do you want to be. You said
Like
what
if,
power.
You're
do you
married,
if
you
we're gonna
have
pick a
giant blue balls.
superhero to be, my superhero to be is Dr. Manhattan.
If I had to pick a superhero, it'd be Wolverine.
That's a good one. I mean, obviously, I would be Superman. We're gonna end this podcast here because I'm done with you guys. I'm over
All
it.
right,
Fuck
fine.
you
Be that
guys.
way.
This
Okay.
was fun though. Chase,
It
it
was
was
fun.
fun having you on.
Yeah,
It was
thanks
a
for
good
telling
one.
us the inside of the Fast and the Furious series.
I feel
Yeah.
like we settled a lot of things today.
We
Yeah.
did.
I guess we all got to go
You
our
guys-
separate ways now.
Are you
We go
guys
our
gonna
separate ways.
You guys gonna stay on here and talk to each other and talk shit about me?
No.
Yeah, that's what every conference call does.
I figured as much. I knew it.
Bash Bros.